Guys, thanks for waiting. Welcome back to the channel. So yet another live waffle. And yeah, mate, it's that time. It was nearly that time. It's going to be Man United at home to Barcelona in the Europa League playoff fixture. I think Man United should have won. It was 2-2. But I got a special guest to get on and just go through some of the things that were going on. We've kind of debated on Twitter back and forth, but I've got my man Jose Tellez who supports Barcelona, so we're going to get hopefully a balanced debate of myself, a Man United fan, and my man Jose Tellez. How you doing, bro?
Bro, I'm good. I'm ready to have this debate because I know we didn't really leave it in a good place on Twitter, so I'm locked in for this one, man. It's gonna be fun.
Nice one, man. I'm glad you spared some time, and yeah, let's talk about that last game, bro. Because yeah, well, I was going to bring up the stats for the last game, which I was talking about. Let me just remove this. Yeah, so as we can see, it was you guys holding a lot of the possession, 60%. We had 39%. And yeah, a big stat there is total shots. We had 18. You had 18 as well. You could say, you had better chances. When you're looking just at what was on target, you had 8 on target, yeah? And we had 5. But this is from Sky Sports, like I was telling you, Jose, yeah?
Yeah.
We go right to the bottom and look at clear-cut chances.
I want to know how they define clear-cut chances. But put that aside. Look, I've had this debate a lot with other United fans in my circle. I'm when I go back and I rewatched the game last night actually for this debate. United had, I think, more. I think when they look at clear-cut chances, United had more opportunities in our box than we had in yours. I think that's maybe where they pull the stat from. And I agree. I think United on the day deserved the 2 goals they had. I'll stand by what I said before, though. I mean, if it comes from a mistake on Casemiro's side or what, and we're used to seeing Casemiro at the Camp Nou. He played for Real Madrid. We played him 13, 14 times.
Yeah.
I never seen him make a mistake like that, to be fair. But I do think that the 2 goals were deserved.
About Rashford's shot in the post. Is that the mistake you're talking about?
No. Okay, so when we talk about that, and anybody who wants to go find this conversation on Twitter, what I was referring to the mistake was Marcos Alonso. So first things first, I have this theory that Xavi is not prioritizing the Europa League, and I've said it before. I think he's prioritizing La Liga. I think he wants to pull in that trophy back. Not to say that we're not taking Manchester United seriously. We are. I mean, these are 2 of the biggest heavyweights in Europe. We're not going to take the match lightly. But I didn't agree with starting Marcos Alonso and Jordi Alba. I did not agree with that. I think Christensen and Balde should have been starting, and we saw exactly why.
I was just going to say, I've seen Christensen starting a lot of your La Liga games.
Yeah,
so it's weird to see Alonso come in, but the guy scored though.
He scored on a set piece, but I mean, us getting scored on by Rashford at our near post, Ter Stegen should have saved it. Don't get me wrong. I still think getting beat at your near post as a keeper is unforgivable, but with that said, it wouldn't have happened if Marcos Alonso, hadn't made the mistake. Jordi Alba's pushed all the way up, made a mistake in the back. Rashford takes advantage of it, and then he's too slow to catch up, right? Once Rashford's beyond him, that's it. And Araujo has to kind of move all the way over, try to compete. But, Rashford's in such good form. I mean, I don't even know how many games in a row he's scored in.
I think it's maybe something like 16 goals and 18 appearances since the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
The guy's on fire. I called him Rash Bappe because he's putting up Mbappe displays, Mbappe stats. Yeah, that's what this guy's doing. Yeah. So just going back to the clear-cut chances, yeah, I'll just try and remember some as well as we were speaking. And obviously we got the 2 goals where Rashford got the first one right at the near post, and then it was the crossing for Koundé, who I think maybe one of your worst players, bro. The way he got that own goal, he looked scared. But we had 2 chances as well on the side of that, and there was more. The Sancho chance in the box where he put it wide with his left foot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for a better player, you would think you could step in, get a shot on target. I reckon that was a big chance. And then Weghorst going in the
Oh,
first.
when Ter Stegen saved it, yeah.
Yeah. That for if we're the top striker, which we're still looking for people like maybe Vlahovic next season, something like that. Surely he'd come when Juventus are like mid-table. They're not going to get Champions League. But anyway, back to the point. I just think we had more quality chances, man. I'm
Yeah, I
trying to think
mean,
back to yours. I mean, there was Rafinha outside of the box, which was just past the post. I think there was.
no. Leva had one very very clear cut chance in the first half, went right to the keeper.
I think that was his only chance. I
Yeah,
think.
it really was. I would say Leva looked good for the first 20 minutes, and then it was difficult. And it's mainly because of the system we run, man. I mean, if you, most, I don't know if you do or not. Most Prem fans don't. Most Prem fans don't watch La Liga week in and week out. And we run a 4-3-3 against a team that crowds our midfield. That system doesn't work as well. So I think Xavi sticks to his tactics when he should adapt. He's still learning. He's a young manager. He'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean, to go as far as saying, Lewandowski got pocketed, I'll give you that one for the first leg.
Yeah,
I think that he could definitely do more.
what other chances did you have after you tested De Gea in the first half? I really don't
No,
remember what it was like. There was a lack of runs that he was making. He seemed like his legs were gone. But if I go to like some of the stats, in terms of hold on, sorry. I was going to go to some of the stats.
yeah,
In terms of like the head-to-head. Yeah, that's what I was trying to look for. Like the amount of goals he's scored, like this is actually an old one. So I think he's got
he's
24
got more
goals
than this
in.
now.
He scored in the last game against Cadiz, right?
Yep. And it was a great goal, and it was a goal that it reminded me of the Coutinho goal that Villa scored against Arsenal at the weekend. It didn't require a lot of power. His body positioning just allowed the keeper to move one way, and he slotted into the left. So,
right. So since my statistic on here, I'm sure he's played 2 extra games, so it should be 29 games. He's got 1 extra goal, 24 goals in 29 appearances. I was shocked at how tame he looked after the first chance, because when you had Gavi and Pedri were just running the midfield, and then Lewandowski was popping up left and right, I was like, this is going to be a long day.
yeah.
But I think it's got to be because Pedri came off. Yeah, I think you lost a big bit of like your service there.
Yeah, people don't realize how important Pedri is to our system, man. Gavi too. Don't get me wrong, but Gavi a lot of times floats out wide. He's not a traditional interior. He can play on the wing. So Xavi uses him in a lot of different places. But Pedri makes the midfield line, combine extremely well with our forwards. And Leva, I mean, he benefits most from it. Dembele does too, but he's been injured for at least 2.5 weeks now. So we haven't seen a ton of it recently. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be. I'll put it this way: it's gonna be difficult. We're basically gonna have a brand new midfield in leg 2.
Yeah, man, you're going to be missing your Spice Boys. These three.
Man, I don't even want to think
Gavi and
about it, bro.
Pedri, man, the pretty boys in midfield. Your midfield's going to look ugly, Jose. What are you guys going to do?
Look, it's gonna be hopefully, and people will completely crucify me for saying this. I think Busquets and his experience is gonna play a role. I think Busi has to be available. If he's not, though, I don't even know what our midfield looks like. Frankie de Jong and Kessié are our only 2 midfielders. We might see Pablo Torre, who's 19 years old and has no experience in Europe. We're in a bit of a midfield crisis, to be honest. But I still think that we can field a serviceable team. But like I told you on Twitter, man, United is the favorite, the clear-cut favorite. There's almost no excuse going in now, right? I think if you don't win, it's nothing short of embarrassing. But Barcelona has a fantastic team. But
all right, real quickly, I think Busquets is available because I'm looking at like the injuries and suspensions. Really missing Pedri and Dembele
and he didn't play against Cadiz at the weekend. So my guess is Xavi, he probably was ready, but we just want to make sure we have a midfield to start and a pivot to start against United at the on Thursday. So I assume he starts. Frankie plays maybe either alongside him or just ahead of him, and Kessié plays just ahead of him as well. But I think that we also don't have our favorite winger in Dembele. We have Rafinha. Ferran Torres looked like maybe he's slowly starting to climb out of the hole that he was in for months, where he just couldn't do anything. He couldn't score, couldn't get an assist, couldn't find a way to combine with Leva. So maybe we try to ride some of that hot form and bring him in. But I think we're going to have to change our formation. I think we're going to have to move from a 4-3-3 to Oh God, a 4-4-2, which sounds
Really?
so weird to say.
Wow. Okay. Before we get into like more of that, because that sounds interesting, man. Because if you
Yeah.
guys have the tinker, it shows. I don't know. Maybe a bit of panic, man. Even though you said Travi may not be taking it seriously, man. I mean, come on. You want to show that you can beat big giants like United. But let me go through some of the comments from people that have showed up. Big up to Aaron. Yeah, man, helping me retweet, man. Thanks for the help, Aaron. I think I made you a mod, so yeah, man. Anyone that's misbehaving in the chat, man, sort them out. I'm sure I've made you a mod. Big up to True City fan, Sophia's football talk. She's a Man United fan as well.
I've seen her
Yeah,
channel. She's good.
she's good in it, man. She's saying we're gonna slap your Barca up, bro.
You should, and if you don't, United fans should be worried. You should slap us up a little bit.
I expect a bit more fight talk from you, bro, but we're gonna get into that
We'll get
later.
there. We'll get there.
Yeah, big up Matthew Bassett, man. He's been following my content a bit. Big up to you, bro. Also saying, didn't Barcelona want Rashford the future? Oh yeah, was this true or was this hype?
No, I think it was true. I think, look, man, outside of the last, how long was Rashford's down form run? It was probably across what, 6 to 12 months, maybe, like where he just was so inconsistent.
Yeah, because we had Ole for what was it, 2 or 3 seasons, and there was at least 2 seasons where he was playing good under Ole, and then I think it was the 3rd season. I just started stinking up the place, man. Just you know what I mean, not looking good on the ball, missing chances, and then we got Ralph in halfway through the season, and he just completely switched off. So that's when we really sort of started seeing some hype of him leaving the team. So yeah, I was thinking, why would you guys want him there when he was on like the downturn in terms
because he's less expensive. So it makes sense, right? Barcelona was broke Alona at one point, right? Because completely couldn't figure out finances, and we needed wingers who had top level experience, and that's Rashford through and through. Back then I wasn't sure if I agreed with it, but I think he drew attention not just from Barcelona but from PSG. I thought PSG was going to make the move to bring him over.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I mean, Rashford's stock has got to have gone through the roof now because the amount of goals he's scoring, man. We see the celebration when he points to the head. It shows he's changed his mentality from just being that player that just had pretty much like no good confidence last season. He's changed, man. He's come through. Listen to the coach as well. The coach has disciplined him, and he's just up in his game.
But he hasn't signed the extension yet. Why is that?
I mean, I'm not sure.
That's weird, right? I mean, he's your golden boy. Why hasn't he put pen to paper?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like his agent, because agents want to make money, don't they? I'm sure his agent's kind of showing some offers or whatever, like try and make him consider his best options. But the guy's got to look at that. He's pretty much the number one at this club. Why would you want to go and possibly destabilize that? I know other players have done it where they'll go to another club and it still works for them. But it just seems like, because Rashford's Manchester born, he's just like one of the number one guys from our academy. I think it's just he's going to sign a little bit later on. I think he's just
I think
his options.
I think he's waiting to see what United does. I think he's waiting to see who the new owner will be. I think he's waiting to see who they're going to come in and help build around him. Right.
Yeah.
If it's more of Wout Weghorst, I don't know if I want to make that long-term commitment. Right. It's like,
don't get our transfer strategy wrong there. We've had the Glazers kind of do that kind of ad hoc strategy from time to time. So Rashford's going to be seeing that they're looking to sell, and if like more richer owners come in that are more like football minded, he's going to want to stay. I mean, he's seen what Ten Hag's doing with the team.
Oh, it's good.
Almost in the title race. You can see the aspiration of the club, so that should keep him here.
It should. We'll
big
see.
Up to Aaron saying 7 likes. Oh yeah, I wanted to drop Matthew Bassett's comment. Victor Osimhen would be a great target, number 9. But the guys
are gonna have to spend some cash to get him. A lot.
Yeah, exactly, because you're gonna get a league winner to come in to a team where we're not winning leagues at the moment. It's like, there's going to be a big tax on how much money we have to put for a Scudetto winner. So that's why I'm hoping that these new owners come in, bro. You know what I mean? Especially if we get like Qatari owners put out that money from the money tree. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Get the Newcastle effect.
But more because we've got the heritage. Newcastle, come on, man. They were maybe in the title race early 90s. Man United, 13 Premier League titles, man. We deserve to have big owners and just take over the league again. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, big up to everyone hitting the likes. Big up to Red Devil Studio, who was on my my other preview for the first leg. Thanks for getting in here, mate. Witter Bird, thanks for getting in here. She's a Man United fan as well. Don't think there's any Barca fans in here, is there?
Probably not. I'm okay with being the only one, bro. I'm okay.
Yeah, but I think we should get back into what you were saying about 4-4-2 because I think Witterberg's picked up on that.
Yeah,
but
very retro.
Played that this season though.
So they haven't done it traditionally. So and this is where I think if you watch Xavi's system in La Liga, I don't even think he realizes he's doing this, right? But he runs a 4-3-3, and who tends to be the winger on the far left, at least as of late, has been Gavi. And what he'll do is when we push forward, he's a winger. But the minute that we play defensive, especially against teams like United, where they're going to try to outnumber us in midfield, Gavi will sometimes, depending on when we have the ball and where we are positioned on the field, he'll tuck in and he'll be the fourth interior, right? So
yeah,
when you look at this lineup, right, exactly, it almost turns into a 4-4-2 naturally, and it's more effective when you have Dembele. Nothing against Rafinha, he's got a ton of speed and he supplements Leva really, really well. But when they have Dembele, we almost have this, this release, right? We have a striker who's clinical like Leva and someone that he can put into free space like Dembele, like Rafinha.
Because I was about to go to this next transition, which I interpreted as like one of your transitions that you do in attack. So
yep.
Yeah, I think what you were saying does apply to what I put there. It looks like a bit of a mess, but yeah.
This makes sense.
I've seen Gavi tuck in to help the midfield so that you've got four in there with Pedri, Kessie, and then Kunde overlaps from right back. And then you have like Rafinha doing runs in behind to help Lewandowski. And then I've seen Kessie as well also go up top and help Lewandowski too. I didn't see enough of that in the Man United game though. You guys kind of lost the plot after the 30th minute. It was really weird to see that.
It's weird to play without Pedri, man. Think about how many minutes he gets. He gets more minutes than than almost any midfielder I can really think of. He plays week in, week out. Xavi doesn't pull him off, and so he came off in the 35th, the 40th minute against United, and we looked lost. And I'm sure this whole week they spent real time on trying to adjust and figure out how we're going to make the midfield tick without him. But that is my biggest concern. I think outside of that, we can make up for it. I think that if we have to play a retro 4-4-2 with Leva and Rafinha and allow Kessie and Frankie to do most of the work, Frankie understands Ten Hag's system. I think he understands what they're going to throw at him, and I'm hoping he can be the one to break the lines, man. I mean, if anybody here remembers watching Frankie against Real Madrid when he was at Ajax in that golden generation under Ten Hag, his ability to take it from a 6 into an 8 into a 10 positionally. I just hadn't seen a 19-year-old do that up until Pedri really kind of came through and broke out. So I don't know. I'm hoping that we could see a different version of Frankie too. Yeah,
I mean, with Frankie, I was liking what he was doing for the first half hour. That's why I was kind of scared because he was really linking up with Pedri and Gavi in the midfield, man. They would just kept finding spaces in there. But like I keep saying, after the 30th minute, it seemed like Casemiro really grew into the game. We bring up like Man United team. I don't have my updated one for who played in the first leg, but it seemed like we played a 4-1-4-1. I don't think I have it on here actually. Yeah, we played like a 4-1-4-1 formation in the first leg, and yeah, we after Pedri came off, we just seemed to like have Fred as well. Fred was linking up well with Casemiro. And I don't know if you noticed him, he was really making forward runs to like help out Weghorst. He was tucked in to the midfield too. Like for you guys to have even losing Pedri, for you guys to have allowed us to come there with Fred and Weghorst being the servants for the attack and the wingers, I think it's nothing short of disgraceful because Jose, your man Gavi, you said it, inexperienced, yeah, but you're a year ahead of what we're doing at Man United because Ten Hag's just started. You guys have had a lot more time to bed in and try and have your games where
I think Xavi has had 6 more months than Ten Hag. 6 more months. And so he came in, and keep in mind, right, just like Ten Hag, when Xavi came into Barcelona and we relieved Koeman of his duties, we were at 9th, I think maybe even 10th place in the league, right? And so Xavi had to come in, and he was playing with kids. And we didn't have anybody close to the team that we have now. We were playing with a bunch of 17, 18, 19-year-olds trying to make it work. And then imagine being that manager, completely removing that team, bringing in Lewandowski, Rafinha. These are a lot of reinforcements, but at the same time, you have to make them work. How many times have we seen in history where look at Chelsea right now, right? They can't win a game spending 350 plus million in the window, but they think that that's what's going to get them matches. It takes time for a team to gel. I think Xavi's gotten 6 more months than Ten Hag, but you can argue that they both started this season at basically the same place with a brand new team trying to implement a brand new system, and at the same time trying to uphold the standard that everyone seems to expect of clubs as big as Barcelona and Manchester United. It's difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah, but I would still say you guys have the advantage. I mean, 6 months is a long time. Yeah, it is a bit of a head start, isn't it? Because okay, he did take you guys from 9th place, but yeah, we look at that. He's had more time to implement that Xavi ball. You know,
we were bad, man. I don't know if you
yeah,
remember watching Barcelona in the Koeman era. We were so bad, so fucking bad. And it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, like, all I could do is sit there and pray, right? Just pray that we wouldn't get destroyed or blown out by any team in La Liga, much less Europe. I was surprised we got past Napoli the way we did last season at this stage of the Europa League. And then from there, it seemed like that was all we really needed because we didn't go on to do anything else after that. Frankfurt came in and they beat us, and then they went on to win it. So I don't know. This feels similar in the sense that we would probably get more pride from knocking Manchester United out of the competition than we would from winning the competition as a whole.
yeah. I mean, but you're not really feeling that confident, man. I mean, I want to just get into like
I'm a realist. I'm a realist, man.
realist.
I'm a realist. I will 100%. Don't get me wrong. We all saw what happened yesterday, right? Real Madrid have not been in form, yet they come in and destroy Liverpool at Anfield. Anything can happen. That's what these European nights are all about. So I'm a
Yeah, but
realist,
the thing
but
is, like Real Madrid were not on form though, but it's like
not
Liverpool.
at all.
Yeah, the thing is, Liverpool, they had like a little bit of a false dawn in terms of their comeback where they were beating a bad Everton side. I think there was another game that
Yeah,
went.
but they also beat Newcastle pretty convincingly.
Right, I didn't catch that one, but yeah, I just think from the I was going to talk about the individual brilliance of both teams. You see, Liverpool's midfield is burnt out, man. They got the likes of Henderson, Fabinho in there. We don't quite have the legs still for like a high energy Klopp system. Like you just look at Real Madrid, they've still got people like Modric. He's just got great technical ability. I think was he 38 or something like that. Is still. I saw his attack for it might have been the third goal or something like that where he was taking on 2 players and getting it to the attack. He's still got legs in him. And then you got to look at like the likes of Vinicius Junior up front, man. Benzema, he's still doing good. The people in midfield such as Tchouaméni, Camavinga. There's so many
Well,
individual
Chouamani
players that are really
didn't
good.
play yesterday, but yeah, look, I agree with you somewhat. I think Real
Yeah,
Madrid's not a high energy team. When Liverpool was up 2-0, they didn't have to keep bringing that same level of energy. Real Madrid's not that type of team. They're an experienced team, right? So
yeah,
they have the chemistry to turn it on. They have the quality to turn it on whenever they need to come back in these very high profile matches, but
yeah.
they're not high energy. They don't play that way.
Yeah, I've seen
They,
them counterattack quite a bit where
yeah, because
they
they
kind
had
of
the speed
absorb.
up front, but
Yeah,
Modric, Kroos, and even when Casemiro was there, they were never a high energy team. And what's crazy is that there is a formula to beating that Real Madrid team. Barcelona did it earlier this season, and it wasn't close. It was 3-1 in a cup final. We
yeah,
smacked them, and then another team, a lower level team in La Liga, did it after we did it in Mallorca. They shut out Real Madrid. Vinny got very frustrated, and they beat them at the Bernabeu. So I think there's a formula to beating some teams like that. I think there is a
yeah,
formula to beating Manchester United. And I think I think Xavi will try his hardest to adapt with the midfield that he has. But come on,
yeah.
man. I think if this was flipped, you would see my point in that Barcelona it has, their B team midfield out there tomorrow night for this. And we're going to do the best that we can. I think if we do win it, it'll be an extra time. I think that
Really?
we have to take United to extra time at Old Trafford.
All right. I mean, I'm going to get into like my predicted lineup as well. I think you've been through yours a little bit with the midfield, but you have to remind me on it. But I just want to say Matthew Bassett's comment from earlier. Eric wants to keep Rashford. Check out Fabrizio Romano tweets about him. I mean, that's no question that Eric would want to keep him. It's just about if Rashford's going to sign, isn't it? That's the big deal.
Yeah, everyone at United wants Rashford to stay. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. Like, where would United be without Rashford? Because I don't know where the goals come from. Your goal differential is like what, 8 or 9 positive?
That's pretty low. In the top three, it's like I've seen like what is it, Arsenal plus 36, Man City plus 34 or something. I think we got like maybe plus 10,
yeah,
something like that, or plus 15.
Where would United be without Rashford?
I don't know, man. I don't think Weghorst would have survived. I'm not sure, man.
Yeah, but, it's a good question to ask.
Yeah. And Witterberg saying the extension is under review with his brother. Oh, his brother is his agent. Hopefully his brother knows business. Hopefully his brother's not like
trying to carve something out for himself.
yeah, hopefully not that. Hopefully he's not unprofessional where you might get Rashford to do something ridiculous. But hopefully he's getting some good advice, because I don't know, the brother may want a little, little cash prize for getting his brother to move to PSG or Barcelona. Hopefully not, man. Big up to Michael Talks Football in here. Yeah, man, this guy is a Liverpool fan. He watches a lot of other football too, but
he's a Liverpool fan. Oh,
Liverpool
man.
fan.
Mike, I hope you're okay, man. I hope you're okay.
Yeah. Michael, if you're still in the chat, commiserations, man. I mean, I saw him on a different stream talking, and he didn't stay for long on the stream, and that's understandable, man. But being 2-0 up, and you got the cup on your side, you got the 12th man, and you guys capitulate. I mean, there was individual mistakes like Gomez. I don't know. Maybe Gomez needs to be just shipped out quicker.
I don't know. And then of course, like the Allison, pass that deflected and all of that. I mean, it is what it is.
That was as bad as Karius in the Champions League final when he passed it to Benzema, if not worse.
I think it was worse because Allison could have just easily passed it left. Could have easily just passed it left.
Really weird. You expect like an experienced keeper like he is to do better, because Karius was still inexperienced that when he was playing that final.
Like, he hadn't played a single match in the Champions League, and he was just going to play in the final. Completely different. To me, this may be going out on a limb, and I'm kind of dragging Barca a little bit with this, but to me, last night's defeat to Real Madrid was the most humiliating defeat that we've seen in the Champions League since Barcelona's 8-2 against Bayern Munich. And the biggest difference with that, though, is that with Barcelona's 8-2, it was prime COVID. There were no fans. We were playing in a neutral site. It was a one-leg affair, right? A one-leg tie against probably the most informed team in Europe at Bayern, Leva at his height, and all of Bayern Munich. And so, I don't know. I think it's different when you're on your home pitch, your home soil. It's Anfield, right? This is Anfield. It's supposed to be the 12th man, and you had a 2-0 lead. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and I think it's embarrassing.
It was. And big up to Kalula getting in here. She's saying Liverpool's keeper was Real Madrid's 12th player. You know what I mean? See, that just off the back of what I was saying, where it's just
fair point.
Like, Liverpool should have had the 12th man with the crowd. But when you got your keeper doing mistakes like that, it's almost like you're downer, man.
I don't know.
That was bad. I feel sorry for Klopp, even though obviously I don't like Liverpool, but I like Klopp. He's a great manager. Like the way he's been able to keep toe-to-toe with Man City in the title races and all that, with like lower amount of money, stuff like that. For his players to be making mistakes when they're going through a hard period like this, I just feel sorry for him. He must be like, he's probably going to need like a new set of dentures, man. Like he's going to be like gritting them teeth over these players, man.
Would you have taken Klopp at United over Ten Hag?
Oh, why are you hitting me with that one, bro? But, like, if I had to choose between them, like,
well, let's just say you hadn't made the decision for Ten Hag yet. Klopp maybe becomes available with the experience he has and his proven prowess in the Premier League. Would you have taken him over Ten Hag coming from the Eredivisie?
Yeah, I because of the Liverpool connection, there's got to be like, for me, because like that rivalry is too strong to just take a manager from the rival side like that. There would have to be like a buffer period where he's gone to maybe a PSG or whatever and done something there, then comes off there, then we can get him from there. Yeah, it's got to be 10. I would have taken 10.5.
I don't know, man. I think if we, if the world can stomach, Luis Figo moving from Barcelona to Real Madrid basically in the same season, it's not too far fetched to see, a manager switch rivals like that. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I'd be there for it.
Jose, I don't trust the fans, man, because we saw that Figo was getting pigs' heads thrown at him. Man. So I don't know. These new fans might have been a bit worse with
who knows?
Kind of thing.
Today's fans might have been, I don't know, they're built different, man. Who knows what would have happened? But I think it would have made for fantastic content. And the Premier League already delivers probably some of the best storylines in all of football. That would have been like a deeper layer. I would have been locked in for it.
Yeah, man. Matthew Bassett's asking a big question there.
Is Modric better than Iniesta? Oof, that is a great question. So here's the thing. Most fans, and I call them casuals, most fans will point to Modric's Ballon d'Or and just naturally say, okay, he's better. And because he won it in the Messi-Ronaldo era. There's a lot of merit that comes along with that. I think, I don't know if you remember this season. There was a season back in I want to say it was 11, when the three finalists for the Ballon d'Or were Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta. And it was probably the only time in history when all three came from the same club. And I think the only reason either Iniesta or Xavi didn't win it is because you just had to compete with Messi. And it was prime, peak of his powers, Messi. I don't know. I think when Modric won it, was it 2017, 2018?
I can't remember, actually.
Yeah. Not that Messi and Ronaldo weren't, amazing. It wasn't peak of their powers. I think if you remember watching the El Clasico era from 2009 to like 2013, that was probably some of the best football I've ever seen in my life. And I think that those two clubs were bringing it in a way that no other league, no other club was bringing it.
Was the Barcelona 5-0 during that period? I remember that game. That's just the main Clasico I remember.
The 6-2 was before that.
Piqué held up his hand at 5. It was so iconic, man.
Yeah, man. The 5-0, the 6-2, the 4-1, they all came in that 3 to 4 year stretch. Pep's Barca, in my opinion, was the best brand of football I've ever seen.
Yeah, that goes without saying for me, man. I mean, just watching Messi cook with that tiki-taka system, you just teams could just not handle it, man. But coming back to the question, man, Modric better than Iniesta. I mean,
ask me which Modric are we talking about? Are we talking about Modric when he won the Ballon d'Or?
I think we're talking about just the career right now. Because for me, what I was going to say, Jose, is Modric has got the longevity in terms of still playing at this age in the top league. Just won the Champions League last season and the league. Yeah, he's still looking like he could really do something. Yeah, so for me, he wins in terms of longevity. I mean, we'd have to look at the amount of trophies. That's a big thing to compare them on. But if you just look at it in terms of eye test, both players are on the same level in terms of. Actually, maybe Iniesta was. Maybe you could say he was better at passing. I'm not sure.
I think he was actually a better. This might be a hot take. I think he was a better dribbler. I think Iniesta to me is more comparable, to today's Barca, like someone like Gavi, where you can push him up on, and Iniesta did it a lot. He played wing. He would play a left mid. He would take the ball from the outside, bring it in, and cut it in. Xavi was more of like a Modric comparison, in my opinion. I think he was a natural 8, stayed in the middle of the park, distributed extremely well, and when needed, took a shot from distance and would score. So, I don't know, man. I mean, El Maestro versus, Modric and probably, one of the midfield goats. It's super tough. It's like comparing, if anybody here watches NBA, in America, we talk about this all the time. I think it's like comparing LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. It's the longevity argument is real, but they're both fantastic players. I will be biased and say Iniesta, but Modric, I mean, for a lot of people.
Barca fan, obviously, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they probably have to look at the trophies as well in terms of how much they've helped their teams win certain things. But yeah, very similar players. That's a really good question.
Really good question.
Big up to the Vujonator getting in here. Both fantastic players. Siggy paper between them. That's fine margins between those types of players, man. But Vujonator is obviously a Man United.
Scholes, the midfield goat.
Yeah.
Here's a hot take. Most people won't talk about with Scholes. People don't remember, but when Fabregas was about 20, I would say still a teenager, maybe. I remember United Scholes running around like a chicken with his head cut off as a 17, 18-year-old was bossing that midfield with Arsenal. I don't know, man. I think Scholes is a hell of a midfielder. He
Yeah.
is not one of my goats. I would take either Modric or Iniesta over Scholes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because I'm biased, Scholes is awesome, and he's played for a long time. I think he was at his peak for longer than Iniesta, because it seemed Iniesta just fell off as soon as he. When did he go to? Was it Qatar that he went to? What was that?
No, he went to Japan.
To Japan. Was he how old was he? Was he like 33, 34?
Yeah, 32, 33. He wasn't
Yeah.
even that old. It's just that I think, in all honesty, he didn't want to play for another big team in Europe. He just didn't. He wanted to go help football develop in another nation. He was done competing for those world global titles. And I think mainly because his passion for Barcelona is always been there. It always will be there. Like, I don't think he
Yeah.
wanted to ever compete against Barcelona.
Yeah, for me, Jose, I think that puts a tax on his career in terms of comparing him to like people like Modric, especially, and Scholes.
Mhm.
For me, Scholes just like I think how old was he when he actually stopped playing for Man
He
United?
played
Was
for a
it
while. He played for a
big,
while.
something like that?
He had to save United, actually. He had to come back out of retirement and save you guys a little bit because the midfield was struggling in
Yeah,
Fergie's final years.
there was points where we had people like Giggs who was 40 years old.
I know.
And you remember because we
I
played, I think,
remember.
was it 2009 or 2011? I think it was 2011 where you guys beat us 3-1. And we had Giggs and I think it was Carrick, was it? Or was it Park? We had some guys in there that just, you would wonder how we got to the final to face you guys. You just had Iniesta,
Yeah.
Busquets, Xavi, Messi just cooking.
The
So,
prime Barca
yeah,
era. It was amazing.
yeah,
I totally agree. There's a comment underneath this one too. About Xavi calling Scholes the GOAT. I look, Xavi is one of the most respected managers. He will continue to always be that. He was that way as a player, and he will always recognize his game, right? Like, he will always give Scholes, I think, his credits. I just, when you think about this argument, this debate, and it's all over Twitter. It's not just me, kind of spouting this knowledge. It's all over Twitter. I think Scholes is probably let's say a top five, midfielder ever.
yeah.
But man, it's so hard because he came up in an era where there were so many talented midfielders. We talk so often now about who's better, right? Mbappe versus Haaland, Messi versus Ronaldo. You throw Rashford and Saka into that mix as the future, right? Like, all these attackers are at the forefront of the discussion. But I'm 32 years old, and when I was coming up as a footballer, it really was a midfield discussion, like who was going to dominate the midfield for years on end. And Scholes is always up there. I just don't think he ever really held a candle to Xavi and Iniesta, and I think that we saw it in the years from 08 to 2011 when Xavi and Iniesta played against Scholes. Who got the better of them every time? Whether it was in a Champions League final, whether it was a Champions League semifinal, it always seemed to be Barca.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but like in terms of individual performances, like Scholes always held his own. Yeah, it's
He
just
did.
if you look at your system, it's just stronger than what we had. I mean, I know you could say, "Oh yeah, I'm just crying," and it's like you got to deal with what you got to deal with. But Sir Alex had the Glazers backing him, and you guys had better football director because there's no way we should have had 40-year-old Giggs in midfield trying to play against prime Xavi and Iniesta, all of those guys,
Yeah, I
So
think back then too, you
yeah,
had like I don't know, you had guys like Tom Cleverley. You had
yeah,
you know,
Anderson,
yeah, and well, Anderson had like a couple seasons where everyone thought maybe he would become something. But yeah, no, I don't get me wrong, I agree. And keep in mind too, that system was implemented by a B team manager. Pep hadn't had any, top flight
yeah.
management experience. He came from Barca's B team and just
He was
implemented a system.
special though, innit? He was special. Like I think he's one of them guys. I mean, dare I say, Arteta may be similar in the way he's taken Arsenal to a title
Arteta is very
every year
similar,
season,
very similar.
Yeah, so I mean, and then we know Arteta's learned from Pep too. So Pep was just like one of them diamonds in the rough where he was always just going to be a great manager because he knew the La Masia system. He knew it inside out. And the way he took over from Rijkaard and then just, brought out people like Busquets, Pedro, all of these, obviously Messi, all of these guys, and then just like the way he gets the team to play out from the back, counter press. Like a lot of teams copy what Pep does. I mean,
Yeah.
I even watched like the Championship, which is Division One, the lower division behind
Yeah.
the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
There's loads of teams trying to play out from the back. They never used to do that. They used to do long ball, all trying to play out from the back. And they're going to be watching people
Yeah.
like Pep doing that kind of thing, and everyone wants to emulate this guy's system.
I think it's because Pep launched, in my opinion, he launched the modern era of football. I think 100%. He launched the modern era. It started off with tiki taka, but in today's footballing world, tiki taka won't work. He's consistently iterated and tried to find ways to make it better and better so that it can be suitable for the Premier League. Tiki taka could have worked back in 2011, 2012, 2013, but you have to make it better because teams will conform.
And
Arteta, by the way, is also a La Masia graduate, and he not just learned from Pep, but he was in the academy when Pep was a player at Barca. When he was, back in the 90s, when Pep was, they weren't winning a ton of trophies. They did win a Champions League with Pep there. But Arteta was learning, and that friendship started very, very young. I do see Arteta, once he's done everything he wants to do with Arsenal, I think he's going to come to Barcelona. And I think that I really do, man. I really do. I think he loves this club more than most managers love clubs. And I think he's going to be the next installment of Barcelona's dominance. I really do. We'll see how it all pans out. I don't know how long Xavi will last, but I think that does the next one up.
Cool, man. The stream's kind of turned into like just looking at like great players. Not just Barcelona.
I mean, bro, this is two historic clubs. Like, this is why I'm so excited for the match tomorrow. And look, regardless of what happens, this Europa League match will be more entertaining than almost any Champions League tie that we have at this stage of the competition. And it's crazy for me to even be sitting here saying this, right? It's crazy to see a club as big as United, one of the biggest in the world, both commercially and just through the level of fan engagement, measured up against Barca, which Barca doesn't have the history that Manchester United has. Like we have recent history.
Good history though. Still good history.
Yeah, we have like
last 20 years. What is it? When Ronaldinho came to your club, for me,
that was 08. That was 08. Yeah.
Yeah, 08. Like so, maybe the last 15 years. I think you guys have really put up some good trophies in terms of winning Champions Leagues. The amount of leagues you won, I'm sure you won more leagues than Real Madrid in that time as well.
In that time, yes, but Real Madrid obviously is the most.
Like you're saying with the recent history, you guys are putting up some good stats, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, it's, but I don't ever want to oversell it. Like Barcelona has a lot of recent history, but prior to the 90s, like we didn't have anything. Like our 92 was the first Champions League we ever won, and it took everything and a revolutionary Johan Cruyff system to help us win that. So we weren't even favorites back then. It took Ronald Koeman scoring a one-off free kick goal from like 30, 35 yards out for us to actually win that Champions League. And we didn't do it again for like almost another 10 years. So we have a lot of recent history, but people forget that Barcelona isn't the size of the club and doesn't have the longevity of our fan base and everything else that Manchester United has.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the UK is the birthplace of football, and we're talking about one of the biggest clubs to ever do it within the birthplace of football. I respect that. With that said, I still think Barcelona is going to give United a run for their money tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I did hear like some of like your lack of confidence earlier. It seems like you're going back and forth a little bit.
Look, man, I'll always be passionate. I'm a realist. I do think that it's going to be difficult. Now, here's one thing: if Jules Koundé can figure out, and maybe it takes Xavi moving him. I didn't agree with Koundé playing on the right. We all saw the foul that he put in on Rashford that probably should have been a red card.
Yeah, that should have been, man.
Yeah, I mean,
free kick. What was going on there?
I have no idea. I'll be honest. Ten Hag should have been pissed. He should have done way more. Like he should have. I don't know. Like
I mean, I think he got booked for that.
Yeah, I would have rounded.
He doesn't want to get sent off. But yeah, this brings me to a question that I was going to ask you before as well.
Sure.
Yeah, because people are saying, or there's been rumors on the internet. I don't know if it's just Twitter talk or whatever, but people have said you guys have paid referees. Hence why they call you. Hence why they call you guys UEFA Lona as well. It's like,
do you know what we paid the referee for? Do you
I
know?
don't know,
Did you hear the story?
I've heard that you guys pay to like try and get decisions go your way. That's what
No,
I've
no, no,
heard.
no, no, no. So here's how it works. For just to clear all of this up. So one, we didn't pay referees who were officiating our matches. We paid a single referee who is one of the most tenured in all of La Liga to, on the back end, outside of matches, behind closed doors, investigate why other referees seem to be targeting certain Barcelona players. And this was at a time when it was crazy. If you didn't follow Barcelona, you didn't understand what was going on. But our own president was paying journalists to target our players, was paying other referees potentially to target our players negatively, because that's how he kept power. Bartomeu is now literally about to go to jail for everything that he did during his era. He was signing players to contracts that we didn't have the money for.
Yeah,
He was doing all of these things that were just basically illegal. And it led to the greatest player of all time exiting our club, and us being in the debt that we're in now. So
yeah. I
there
thought
was
you guys were in trouble when Messi went, man. But
there's
yeah,
all
you
these
had to
things that
survive.
like most people on the outside just don't understand. And that's another thing. Like, this story is a perfect example. Everyone accused Barcelona of paying referees. We paid a single referee to investigate something behind closed doors because we couldn't investigate it ourselves.
So what did you
And
find out then? That seems a bit weird to pay a referee to investigate why you guys are not getting
it
decisions.
was it was one of the head referees, and it wasn't decisions. It was, we felt certain players were being targeted, and it turns out multiple teams do this. Barcelona was just the only team that was made public. So it wasn't just us. There were multiple teams who have done it in years past, and it's because we feel there is a level of, I don't want to say it's fixed, right? But I think that with all of the scandals that you hear about across the footballing world, I think La Liga referees and maybe even Prem referees, we've seen how bad VAR was this season. We saw the missed. Look at Lee Mason. Look at Lee Mason and him forgetting to draw the offside lines for Arsenal. That looks
Yeah,
fixed to me.
that was awful. That was
That looks
awful.
fixed to me.
I heard fans like on Twitter. I don't know. I don't think it was that many. People were saying we should have been awarded the 3 points in retrospect of that decision. It's like there's been so many games where there's been bad decisions where you can't just go back and then just give you points, isn't it? It's an error. You have to deal
Yeah.
with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was ridiculous. Like forgetting to draw lines. That's the whole basis of
Yeah.
VAR. I
And
don't. I
it
don't know.
looks like it's fixed. That's how it looks to me. So I think the only way to have, you can't ask favors. So for anybody who says, and I see a comment now, right? As soon as you said paid, this is the same thing that any business does. I have my own business, so I understand. Businesses pay third-party consultants to investigate things all the time. There is no better consultant to pay than a referee who works within their ranks and is willing to act as an impartial consultant to help figure out why Barcelona players or the team itself is being targeted in certain ways. Everybody does it, but the minute that somebody hears, "Oh, Barcelona paid a referee," they won't even open up the story. They won't even dig into what exactly we had the referee do, what we were paying them for. They just hear, "Oh, Barcelona was paying referees," right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think is this the comment you were looking at? Yeah, Kalula saying you still shouldn't have done it. You aren't more important than other teams. You wasn't
that.
the only team
Well,
being targeted.
let's be honest
That's a
about
good
that.
point.
Okay, so
That's a good
we are
point,
more
man.
important than just about
Yeah,
any team in La Liga minus Real Madrid. We bring in, along with Real Madrid, about 90% of the revenue. So based on that alone, you can argue that we're more important.
yeah. I mean, I just got to look to like other leagues. Like with there was a time when Arsenal's team with Arsene Wenger, like that. Obviously, the football they were playing, champagne football, and a lot of teams were just really trying to be physical with them. And like
Mm-hmm.
there was a I think 2007 2008 season where what's his name, the Brazilian up front, got his leg broken by a defender from Birmingham City. Forgot what his name was. But yeah, I don't think he was paying refs to investigate. It just seems when you're paying a ref to do something, even though what you said, okay, that seems like it's all right. It's just like when you see that you've paid a ref to do something, it's kind of a little bit iffy. So I
Yeah.
don't know, like maybe they paid them to do something else. You know, it's like once you start paying officials to do investigations, I don't know.
I think if fans want to speculate, let them. I mean, at the end of the day, no one's ever going to be happy with how Barcelona does business anyway, because of all of the financial shit that has come out in the recent weeks or months, I should say now, right? Where we've been in debt for who knows how long. people are always going to find something to complain about. At the end of the day, Barcelona is doing the best business that they think is right for the club. And they want to take care of their players. They want all matches to be fair. And, that they're doing what they think is best. I personally have no problem with it, but I also understand how business works. I think those who complain the loudest probably do not have that understanding. They just hear refs shouldn't get paid by anyone other than the league. And that's true.
Yeah.
But again, every business who wants to get better at what they do pays third-party consultants.
Because that's the thing. It doesn't seem like it's the right kind of procedure. It seems like if Barcelona,
the league won't do it. The league will not investigate. So Barcelona,
that's what I was going to go to, Jose. They should be going towards the league to say,
the league doesn't care.
You guys have got to talk to your refs. It shouldn't be like we're going to pay. That's what makes it seem a bit weird.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. And even as recently as this week, Laporta, who's our president, got into a very public shouting match with the president of La Liga. And they won't help us for anything. They won't help us register players. We have yet to register Gavi's renewal because they won't let us do it. They want us to prove certain things or I don't know, have certain players get off the books.
Jose, I won't be surprised if you guys get pulled up on charges like Man City, because we all saw, like what you were saying, what you were saying with Bartomeu, there was things that were borderline, illegal.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know if you guys might get some of these charges that Man City will be getting. Like
I don't think so. And here's why. We're one of the only state-owned clubs in the world. Every financial document is public. You can go look at it today. Anybody can. That is the beauty of Barcelona. There's a president, but there is no private ownership. There's no private documents. Everything's public. So if you want to go look at it, they don't need to investigate us privately. Like, they can go do it now, today. So that's why I'm not worried about that, is that everything that we do financially has to be made public, which is why it's easier to drag Barcelona through the mud financially, right? Because all of this news around all the financial dealings that we have, it seems like we're more public than any other team, but it's because we're a public club. We're a state-owned club. You can't hide any of this.
Right. Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap up soon because we need to come back and then do our predicted lineups and then predictions. But like, I was trying to go through some of the comments that people are putting in. I'm surprised there's been quite a bit. But when our stream went a little bit into talking about great players, Realist United was saying Zidane is the guy.
Zidane is the guy, 100%.
Zidane, he's good. He's good, man. I mean, just on the eye test, when I was seeing him doing them clean stepovers that they do, all the playmaking, clutch goals, like the Champions League goal against.
When he was at Real Madrid at his height, like, I'm a Barca fan, and I had a poster of him on my wall.
Is it? Wow.
See, yeah, I have massive respect for Zidane.
That's where you got to be a football fan and say, yeah, bow down. It's just like when on my preview, I was looking at all the great goals between like Man United and Barcelona. I only picked out a few, but I was like, let me pick out some Man United ones, and then I was looking at Messi's goals, and when he got the header, I thought, this guy, to be one of the smallest guys on the pitch, and actually pop up with a header against the two big dogs in Vidic and Rio. I was like, this guy, I should got to bow down to Messi. I didn't head to his game.
To be fair, the ball that was played into Messi was gorgeous.
It was
Xavi picked him out perfectly.
But we're on 12 likes. Thank you to everyone getting in here. Keep hitting the like. Trying to go through your comments, guys, but we've had a good conversation here. Kalula saying, one thing I feel should be taken into account is Scholes was in the Premier League, which is more challenging than some other leagues. So I would argue he was playing at a level higher for more matches.
I can't stand this argument. I mean, I get it. And in today's football, that's probably a little more true. But in those eras when Scholes was going up against Iniesta and Xavi, I don't know if we could say that. I don't know if we could say flat out the Prem was better than any other league in the world. And we saw it last night. An out of form or roughly out of form Real Madrid walked into Anfield and slapped them around. It was easy. It was nothing.
I think the main argument though, Jose, is that Real Madrid and Barca are the top guys that can just show up, into Europe and they can beat like the big dogs around Europe. But it's like the rest of your league seems like it pales in comparison.
Who beat Manchester United in the Europa League final 2 years ago?
Villarreal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and who typically
it seems
wins
like they're
wins wins the
falling off.
Europa League under Unai Emery? It's been, I think Sevilla has more Europa Leagues than anybody else. And
Right.
Real
If you look
Madrid
in the
has more
league,
Champions Leagues than anybody else. I mean, I could go on, man. I could go on for days on this topic. I think La Liga doesn't get the respect it deserves because
yeah.
the Prem is more exciting. I just don't think it's flat out better. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I would say this though, Jose, because I do like your point as well. I don't think the Prem is just the be all and end all. Like you just got to go there to prove that you're the best.
yeah.
There's still top internationals that I see play in the Spanish league or even the
Mhm.
French league.
Yeah.
You look across the rosters. There's internationals for
Yeah.
a lot of top 10 European teams
Look
in
at Napoli and Italy. I
nations.
mean, man, like who would have guessed Napoli was going to do what they're doing in the Champions League? I don't think anybody, right? There are a lot of players there that nobody had heard of before this season. I just think
Yeah.
that the Premier League gets the most attention, and it
Yeah.
is it's a. I mean, we
It's
saw
most
Villa Arsenal.
attention, though, Jose. It's the most attention because you look at the teams now. Like we've seen Newcastle with a takeover. We've
Mhm.
seen Man United might be getting taken over. There's more teams that have like more money in this division where they're
Oh yeah,
buying up all of the top talent from everywhere else. Pretty much, it's like money is ruling the game now. So it does seem like it is more competitive within this league because like I said, the team just buy up. Like I think it was what was it? What's the team? There's a team that outbid a top team from the Liga. I think it might have been Bournemouth or someone like that that
yeah.
outbid a top team for La Liga for a player. Like how is that happening? It shows the competition
Spending power.
in the
Yeah.
Premier. The spending power is a lot better.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's superior. So you could debate it is more challenging in the Premier League because there's more top players that come to this league.
It's interesting,
Yeah.
man. And someone just asked, would Napoli be a top four team in the Prem?
I
That's a
think so.
That's a great question. I think so. I
They
think
play good
personally,
football.
so right now Spurs are top four, and I think Napoli takes that team down easy.
Yeah, Spurs are not good at all. They are not good.
They're still top
I
four though,
think,
right? So
yeah,
and so you look at, again, I think the Prem is the most, from 1 to 20. I think it's the most competitive league in the world, from 1 to 20. But if you look solely at the top 10, the top half of the table, I think it gets extremely competitive when you compare it to La Liga, Serie A. Ligue 1 is difficult because, I mean, I would argue that PSG is faltering more than, other teams are just flat out better.
yeah,
But I don't know. France is weird. But I
yeah.
just think that
In the French
there's
league,
more
just real
competition.
quickly, in the French league, there is a lot of these because we know even if you look at the French national team, you see that a lot of descent
Yep.
they come from Africa. Yeah, if you look in the league, there's a lot of players they've scouted from Africa who are just
Ballers.
strong, physical
Ballers.
specimens, yeah. And
Mhm.
they there's a lot of them that are playing defense, so they actually make it hard for a lot of the attacking teams. PSG, that we can see, like if you actually do watch a lot of the games, you can see like Messi has been struggling against the power of some of these just African players that are just strong and just want to
Yeah,
get the back
physical,
and just
and bro, they
back.
could ball. They could ball.
Yeah,
Like no one should underestimate these teams, and that's why I think, like, look, if you're a Prem League fan, I support Arsenal. I totally understand what it's like, and I support Arsenal through the dark times. I mean, the AFTV
yeah,
days, right? So I think people, we understand the Prem is so much fun to watch that it can be easy to just cast aside most other leagues. But I think if you
yeah,
actually sat down and watched the football, it is more competitive than most people give it credit for. And I think that the only way you can fairly judge the top teams of any given league are going to be in Europe, whether it's Europa League or Champions League, even the Conference League, whatever. Look at who makes it to the latter stages, and I think that that's how we judge each league
yeah.
respectively. And again, I'll point to how many times teams from Spain have won each of these European divisions.
They've won a lot, man. It's just been painful to see how many, especially Barcelona beating us. Where hopefully we can change that at Old Trafford tomorrow. I mean, we have to come back to what the stream is talking about Man United, Barcelona. But before we do that, yeah, I just gotta say a few more greetings to people in the chat, man.
Hell yeah.
Primo, I don't think I said hi to you. Should be a barn burner. Come on, United. Come on, man. We've got, in terms of our display, I think we've made you guys respect us a lot. Big up to Gaming Simp. Yeah, man. If you like your games such as Days Gone, there's kind of apocalyptic games. Go and check out Gaming Simp on YouTube. Big up to you for getting in here. Shake Shake Bin Berber double like that. That's Gaming Simp's second account, but obviously you can see he's a Man United fan.
He
So
is Man United fan. Is he a Berbatov fan?
oh, of course, yeah, Berber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
An underrated striker.
he's thinking whether the Sheikhs will come in and take us over, man.
They will.
If we get Qatar money, it's game over for the Prem.
But it's not about the money, man. It's about how you spend it. We all saw.
Yeah.
We're watching Bowley trying to play football manager with Chelsea right now, and it doesn't work. We've seen PSG do it with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. Didn't work. Real Madrid with the Galacticos. Yeah. How many trophies did they win with Beckham, Ronaldo, Figo, and everybody else they had on that roster? Zidane. Yeah. They in 3 years they had the most expensive roster of all time and didn't win a single trophy. They probably made more money than any club in the world, but they didn't win a single trophy.
I'll tell you this, Jose. Yeah, we've seen how adaptable that Ten Hag can be. Yeah, if we look at the players that he's bought, okay, he's tried to buy some possession players. He's got the likes of Eriksen. You could say he's not really at the top of his game, even though he came into the team and did a job. He's not really prime Eriksen. Yeah, he got in Casemiro after a long time of trying to get De Jong, so that was kind of maybe a second choice.
Yeah,
he's getting the team to play with the likes of Fred in midfield at times. He's even used McTominay well. We almost beat your guys Arsenal.
Oh, no, that's crazy. I agree.
We did that Old Trafford with McTominay and was it Eriksen in midfield? I think it was. So
I'm very critical of McTominay. I think he is not good enough to be in your team.
He's not good enough. But the point I was trying to make is that okay, Ten Hag can work with like some of these bums. Yeah. So if you just even if he gets let's say it might be a worst case scenario where it's like a Todd Bowley like character, it comes in and that is a Qatari. Yeah. Let's say they're just going to get loads of players in. I think Ten Hag is experienced enough and is disciplined enough to go and get his amount of players that he wants to play, and will just just keep playing those players and then drop other players and not try and keep everyone happy, because I suspect that Potter might be trying to keep everyone happy, and then it's just messing up his ability to pick the consistent team, pick the right team, and discipline everyone. I think Ten Hag has got that in him.
That's fair.
You've seen the likes of Rashford was late for a press conference or a training session.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped the guy for the first half of the Wolves game and then said, okay, you can come on second half. And Rashford still did the business. He sent Sancho on a training camp by himself to get himself his mentality sorted out. There's all these things where I'm thinking if an owner comes in and is spent bringing up the big roster like you're saying, I think Ten Hag has that tunnel vision to go, okay, I'm going to pick this amount of players and I'm going to make them work.
But that's what he's doing now, though. And look, here's the thing. Like I think so. I wanted, believe it or not, a lot of people didn't know Ten Hag before he came to United. I remember watching Ajax tear apart Real Madrid and the system they would play. I wanted Ten Hag before Xavi came in at Barcelona. Oh. I thought he would have made perfect sense because his system. Imagine United playing in Ten Hag's proper system. I think right now he is simply making the pieces work the best he can. He is playing every player to their strength. I think when a new owner comes in, he's going to want to have a very firm discussion on these are the kinds of players that I need to play in my system. We need to get rid of all this deadwood. I made it work for a small amount of time, but I can't do this long term. And I think that he'll want to do what Arteta's doing at Arsenal. He'll want to have a group of players, even if it takes 3 years to build up to. He'll want to have a group of players that allow him to play his way of playing football, even if it means taking one step back to take 2 steps forward. I just think he'll be very, very firm about that. We've already seen his leadership qualities. I think that you as a fan should want that for United. I think you should want not just the Qatari money, but you should want money that, and the freedom given to Ten Hag to really go out there and scout the players that he wants to play with.
What I want, Jose, is for these Qatari people to be like, the organizers of the World Cup. That last World Cup was magnificent, by the way. I mean, their team didn't play that well, but the way they set everything up, the hospitality and all that was really good. So it's like their guys from that culture are really getting into the football. So hopefully they acknowledge what a system is in a football club, where you have a director of football that you speak to, you have scouts that you speak to, and you get advice from players. You don't just go out there and do your own shopping. Like I think Todd Bowley was doing that. He
Yeah.
was going to meetings by himself to like try and get players. Like what?
No, he doesn't know football. Like what, you have no knowledge of football. Why are you taking these meetings by yourself? It makes no sense.
It's crazy. So, I mean, even if we do get a Todd Bowley, I mean, I just think Ten Hag is one of them guys that could still work in that kind of situation where you have to assert yourself, and possibly he would discipline the owner when he talks to him. Ten Hag just seems like that kind of guy, man.
He is. I think he should threaten to leave if he doesn't have things at least a little bit his way, where it's like, look, you can spend any amount of money you want. You can give me recommendations, but I need to have final say on the players that we bring in, because I have a system that I want to play, and I'm sure you want to win. We will win in this system. I think that's how this works. And I don't know. There's too many examples. Look at Barcelona at the start of this season, right? I'll be critical. Look at Barcelona started this season. Everyone thought we were forming the Avengers when we brought Lewandowski, Rafinha. We re-signed Dembele, felt like a new signing because we didn't know if he would leave or not. We renewed Gavi. Pedri's on a long-term deal. Amsa's on a long-term deal. We have all of these pieces now. We brought in Christensen. Araujo's back. Koundé came in.
Yeah, I don't think. Were you really like happy with the Christensen one? Because he wasn't really doing good at Chelsea, but the likes of
I wasn't. I was happy that we didn't have to play Eric Garcia in the back anymore. Like that, to me, that was our starting center back last season, was Eric Garcia. Yeah. So, like Christensen, I knew was a step up. I didn't know what to expect. Everyone was saying that we got the worst end of the deal because Rudiger went to Real Madrid and we got the lesser center back. Right. But look at him now. I think he's become, I won't go as far as saying a shutdown center back, but I think he pairs really, really well with Araujo, and I think he's good enough with his feet to do what Xavi asks him to do. So, but what I'm saying is that look at Barcelona at the beginning of the season. We got ousted out of Champions League, out at the group stages. We weren't gelling yet. But then look from end of October to now. And Barcelona has only conceded, the 2 goals that we conceded against Manchester United, that's the most we conceded in a single game. And I don't know how long.
I'm sure you guys went in some kind of ridiculous run of I think it was 16 games unbeaten, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you guys weren't letting in goals. But we're at the same time at a good record. I think we only lost 1 in the 16 games.
Mm-hmm. So, and Rashford scored in how many games in a row now? I think it's been like
I think it's something ridiculous, like 16, something like that.
I don't know, but either way, like that's what I'm saying. It takes time for the system that you're building and the players that you have to really gel and actually know what they're doing as you're going out there and trying to win matches. And that's juggling the expectations of this fan base who's just used to you constantly winning and winning and winning. And when you don't, it feels like you're just failing. And we have to be more patient. That goes for, I think, you as a United fan and me as a Barca fan.
You've got to say that to these Chelsea fans, because, they've been spoiled with like the quick fix coaches and all that. But, we could get into that in another stream. I just want to give some more comments before we actually do our predicted lineups. I was saying that about 20 minutes ago. But
you're good, man. I love this. I love it.
I just want to honor people in the stream. Kaluda saying what Eric Ten Hag has done with the resources he has within a year. Imagine what he could do with years to come. That's what I'm saying, man.
Wholeheartedly.
He's got to be scared, man. And I would, I want that Qatari money, bro, because he's just gonna have an open checkbook, man. Hopefully, you know what I mean. Like I'm saying, he will get the right system above him, like the director of football, spend the money right. Big up to Primo saying Woodward made a huge mess. That will take a good while to fix. United still don't have a proper director of football. This is what I mean. This is why I hope the Qataris know ball and will actually change. It's John Murtough who's got a legacy of working with Everton. I don't think if you're a top club like Man United, you got to be having people with better CVs.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not people that have been managing at mediocre clubs. So I wanted Ralph Rangnick to have been hired with not just being a consultant, because he was supposed to be the consultant after he was the interim coach, right?
Yeah,
and he didn't even get to do what was his creme de la creme, what was his actual job, which is to scout players. Mm-hmm. There was actually one article I saw where he was looking at the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Julian Alvarez and was trying to get them for like a combined amount of 30 million.
Yeah.
And now they're worth like Enzo.
He probably could have.
Yeah. Because he scouts people out when they're young. That's the kind of director of football we need. Someone that can pick these guys out when they're prospects and then obviously get them to a manager that can help them grow and then their resale value will be amazing, even after they're helping you win trophies. So
I think the
yeah,
people
man.
who don't know Ralph Ragnick and just listen to maybe the Cristiano Ronaldo interview and just assume that like, hey, he was a nobody. If you look at the Leipzig team, Leipzig's playing today in the Champions League against City. Leipzig started in 09. How many clubs could launch it, just over 10 years ago and see the level of success they're already seeing? That comes from great scouting and understanding the players you need to make a system work. And Ragnick was almost single-handedly responsible for putting the pieces in place together that allowed Leipzig to go from launching the club day one in 2009 to being semifinalist in the Champions League 10 years later. That's insane. Like that to me just shows that he knows what he's doing. He just needs a club to support him.
Exactly. Primo saying money, yes, and culture. That's the big word. That had to be capitalized because, like you were saying, Jose, you could be spending loads of money and have a big roster and still not win things because you've not got the chemistry in that team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully we get a balance between that Primots. Sorry, man, it's going to be a challenge. But yes, let's finally do our predicted lineups. I want to bring up the team from the last game. Just give me a second. I'm sure I've got it on my slides. And obviously, there's going to be changes to Barcelona's midfield. But yeah, I just want to run through my team, right? I think I should just go with what I think Ten Hag will do.
Yeah.
So we start with Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Shaw, and Malacia at the back. When we were looking at the suspensions, Martinez is no longer suspended, so I think Martinez comes back in there. I think Wan-Bissaka, I think he had apart from a little mistake where I don't know if you remember when Varane crossed the ball to Wan-Bissaka.
It went right, or he let it go and it went over him, and we countered. Yeah,
that was ridiculous. But for the most part, I think he was keeping Alba quiet because that was.
Yeah,
I remember you guys were trying to go through the left a lot with Alba, and he just couldn't work out how to get past Wan-Bissaka. There was a really big tackle he made as well, where I think Alba got through. I forgot what the move was, but there was a sliding challenge that Wan-Bissaka made on Alba, and Alba wanted the penalty, but it was clearly on the replay. You could see he got the ball.
Yeah.
I think Wan-Bissaka stays in there. So yeah, so a back four: Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Martinez, and I think maybe actually Shaw gets pushed into the left because that's just been Mr. Reliable. Obviously, we're going to see Casemiro in there, man. I mean, the way the guy was keeping out the likes of Gavi in the second half, man. Did you see that replay? I'm going to try and explain it properly, right? There's a replay where Gavi was trying to get past Casemiro, and then Casemiro kind of shepherded him to like the left corner.
Yeah, and then Gavi kind of gave the nudge.
Yeah, and then you see the way Casemiro looks at him, like looking him up and down, like saying, like Casemiro was saying, "I'm the king, man. Come on, I'm a Real Madrid graduate, man, and you're trying to mess with me, little kid." That's
he's also 12 years older than him, but yeah,
exactly. he was looking like his daddy in that moment, bro. So yeah, Casemiro got to start there. The thing is, if we go to like the midfield for Man United, Weghorst has been playing in there. I think the last 3 games, he's been playing because it was in the Leeds game, the Leeds away game, which was about 2 games ago, when he was dropped from the forward into that position, and he was actually linking up with the midfield a bit better than Bruno, to be honest, which was weird. This is why I'm like, how is Bruno going to be our number 10, and then he's put onto the wing? But Bruno against Leicester in the last game, he got a few assists from that position too.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, because I've heard like Ajax fans say that once Ten Hag gets a formula that's working, he will stick with it. Like even when he's got players that he can rotate in there, he tends to keep the same team as well as the formula. So I don't know. I mean, I think Sabitza's still suspended, isn't he? Actually,
I don't know. I was going to ask that. I don't know if he's suspended or not. I actually expected him to play.
Yeah, it's weird. It's saying here, I was looking on transfermarkt.com, and it was saying, yeah, Sabitza's still got yellow card suspension. He's back on November 3rd for Europa League. That sucks, man. I thought he was just missing the first leg. So yeah,
I think if he somehow is available, I think he's the easy start because it allows. I think the combination of him and Casemiro are going to allow Bruno more freedom moving forward, and that will cause
yeah.
Barcelona problems. So I mean, I don't know. I'm expecting roughly this lineup. I still don't understand why. I mean, I kind of understand why Weghorst is in the midfield. I just
Yeah.
I think I don't know the speed of Barcelona's passing. Maybe I don't know if it makes sense to keep Weghorst in the middle. If I'm looking at it from United's perspective, I would force him to make Christensen and Koundé work for every I don't know ball that they possibly can. He's so big, and we're not a big team. So I
Yeah,
mean, I
there's,
don't
there's,
know.
there's not many players we can play in there because Van der Beek's not there.
Yeah,
We got the likes of Ericsson is not there. McTominay obviously doesn't play like. I mean, I've heard he can play attacking, but he's more used to playing more of a defensive role. So
if
I don't
McTominay
think I want
starts,
to
I'll feel a
see.
lot better about this.
Yeah, I don't think I want to see an experimentation with McTominay being tried in there because I would say that the experiment with Vedakhorst is working to a certain point. Like he's not been great. He's not been great, but there's certain times where he's linked up with the midfield and he's done some bits. I'm surprised that he doesn't win enough headers when he's 6'6", but yeah, I reckon he stays in there. But just to finish off anyway, on the left, it's either Sancho or Garnacho. I think because Garnacho's still getting his sea legs in his team and he's more of an impact sub. I reckon we'll go Sancho on the left still. So I reckon it'd be pretty much the same team apart from, like I said, at the back, Shaw goes to the left and Martinez in at left centre back. But before you get into your team, Jose, everyone in the chat, get in your teams and obviously get in your predictions. We're going to get in your predictions for the scoreline. We're going to go through that too in a bit as well. So, yeah, Jose, tell me what you guys are going to do, especially in your midfield. You have to remind me what you were
Yeah,
saying earlier.
yeah. So look, a few changes to the lineup that you have on your screen right now. So I would say one, I mean, obviously, the back line will change a little bit. It has to. Um, I don't think Araujo was playing right back that much in the first leg. I think he was playing more center back. I think he will stay to the right side this next time because I see Rashford most effective. And I think that honestly, I think it was more Koundé having a bad day, but he did make Koundé look foolish more than
Yeah.
once. So I think Xabi's going to learn from that. He'll push Araujo to the right, mainly because he has experience with this. We have to do this every time we play Real Madrid. We have to shut down Vinny, right? So, and Araujo is always our man marked on Vinny. So I think that this is going to be the same strategy with Rashford. Koundé plays in the middle. I think Marcus Alonso has to go out. I think we have to learn from the fact that he just has zero speed, like
But Jose,
zero.
Jose, real quickly though, don't you
Yeah.
think Rashford was causing too much trouble? Because like Koundé could have got sent off when he
Mm-hmm.
challenged Rashford for that,
Yeah.
for that challenge in the second half.
I
So
think Cody's a more natural center back. I think that I trust him more as a center back than I do as a right back, and so I think he's also too good a defender across our entire back line for us to just remove him against one of the biggest opponents we'll play all year. If he did, if we didn't start Koundé, I would be very very disappointed. I'd feel like we're not even trying to win this game because he's one of our best center backs easily. And he's not a natural right back, but that's where he was playing. He does it in La Liga sometimes, and he's trying to get more acclimated to being a right back, but it's not his natural position.
right.
We don't really have a right back at the moment, to be honest. So Araujo will play, I think, on the right, Koundé next to him. I expect Christensen to come into this lineup and be that left center back. And then on the left, I really think it's a toss-up between Jordi and Balde. And they have their own strengths. I think if we're looking for athleticism to keep up with United on the wing, Balde is the easier choice. I think he's hard to
I
contain.
think you have to go with Balde because Alba was doing nothing against Wan-Bissaka, and we're
Yeah.
seeing Wan-Bissaka's an athlete. Like if you get past him, he's going to get them long legs back with a sliding challenge. He's going to get back at you.
But,
So I
here's the
reckon
thing, right? Like
Balde.
you have to, and that's a very good point, and it leads me to my second point, which is I think Jordi's touch and his service are better than Balde. So I think Xavi's thinking is we're going to retain more possession. We need more service from high quality service from our outside backs, and Jordi gives us that. But like you said, he can't really break past Wan-Bissaka on the byline, which means that, and if he does push too far forward, he doesn't have the pace to chase Bissaka and Bruno back. Right, we saw that in the first goal when Rashford beat Ter Stegen at the near post. It came from the fact that there was so much room down that left-hand side. So I expect Balde to start, but again, I expected him to start in the first leg and he didn't. So we'll see. The midfield is the trickiest piece of this puzzle by far.
Yeah, man.
I feel like we're gonna run a diamond. I feel like logically that makes sense. We have to run a diamond with Busi holding that pivot position at the 6. I think in front of him we have to have Kessier and Frankie, and then at the 10, your guess is as good as mine. It's probably going to have to. So normally that would be a Pedri role. I think we probably have to look at, I don't know, maybe a Ferran Torres, maybe an Ansu Fati to play in guys like Leva and Rafinha. I think that's going to be our best bet, is trying to look at a forward who has the understanding of what it's like to play as an attacking mid and a 10, which I can only see really from Ferran Torres or Ansu Fati. Anybody else, I just can't really see it. I don't see them playing that role.
Like I was saying earlier, I've seen Kessie get up there and support Lewandowski in like a few games, especially against Sevilla. I saw him do it. He's got a good touch as well. I think he got the assist for Alba's goal in that game as well.
Yeah.
So,
but you got to remember they're gonna have to, whoever plays alongside Busquets, which again I think it's really gonna be a diamond. I think it's gonna be a 6, 2 8s, and a 10 above them. And I think the 2 8s are gonna be Frankie and Kessie because Busquets is too slow. I think when we lose the ball and United counters, he's going to be the first one exposed. And so we need 2 8s that can play truly box to box. I think Kessie and Frankie give us that at least for 70 minutes. But after that, I think where United will, if United wins this game, it will be because of who has to come on to replace those players. I think it's going to end up being guys like Pablo Torre, which again, Xavi didn't even use them against Cadiz this past weekend, which to me was very, very alarming. He was warming up on the side, never even used him. I think he has quality, but he's an 18-year-old player who has no experience in Europe and is probably going to be called upon to compete with Bruno, Casemiro, and Fred in the Europa League. It's very, very difficult. But with that said, I think we have a serviceable midfield to start. And then up top, it's up top. We know Rafinha and Leva are going to start. We know that's going to be who we go with as our 2 primary attackers. And when we push forward, there will probably be a midfielder, whether it's Kessie, whether it's Frankie, or maybe like someone like Ansu Fati that comes in and gives Leva another option as we push forward. But I don't know, man. I think we honestly have to move Leva around. I think Lisandro Martinez is going to make it very difficult. He's going to be very physical with him.
He's got Lewandowski for me. He's got to make some more runs.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean, because he wasn't giving trouble to Shaw after or Varane. Yeah. He needs to be a lot more dynamic. You know, Rafinha. I think Rafinha was your best outlet, and especially in the second half, the chances he was creating.
Which is why it was so frustrating to see him pulled off. Like I don't remember that.
I asked you about that. Like,
made no sense. It made zero sense. Our best player on the pitch by far, and we're pulling him off with 10 minutes to play when there's still something to play for in the match. I didn't get it.
Which goes back to your point of whether Xavi's even taking this game as serious as like the other competitions. Because if Rafinha's looking pissed off, like he was still fit enough to play, and you're putting on Ferran Torres, he's not as dangerous.
Did you see Rafinha? Like when he got subbed off, did you see the images of it? I mean, he was cursing Xavi basically, like he was punching the chair, like he was very, very upset.
He still give a handshake to the manager though, still.
Yeah, he respects him, but I think that it's so difficult because it's not that Xavi doesn't respect United. Who doesn't respect United? United is one of the biggest clubs in the world. We have the utmost respect. I think if this was a Champions League match, it would be hard not to put our best 11 by far out there and keep them out there. I just think that, I don't know. I've never seen, even back, I think the last time we were in Europa League prior to last season was back in the 03-04 season. And even then, when Louis van Gaal was our coach, I don't remember us ever prioritizing Europa League. I've never seen Barcelona do it. La Liga always kind of is the precedent. It's what we're going after first. And now that we're not in Champions League anymore, I know the fans are calling for a La Liga title. We have to beat Real Madrid to something. So I think that, we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's frustrating, man. As a fan, watching Xavi just prioritize La Liga in front of your eyes, right? Pulling your best player off the pitch when there's still plenty of time to do something. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, my first impression was that he was kind of a little bit scared to lose the game, actually, because we brought on Garnacho, which that's a very attacking option. If you've seen Garnacho, the way he's got like speed to get him behind, he's got a good finish on him, and from what I've seen of Ferran Torres, he doesn't really look as dangerous, especially not. He's not better than Rafinha, so it's like
No, he's not.
obviously you can see why Garnacho came on because he's faster than Sancho and he's been on
Mhm.
like better form. So Ferran Torres coming on, I was like, is Xavi a little bit scared of losing
No, I don't
this
think it's
lead? Yeah,
I don't think it's scared. I think it's one is like I want to conserve Rafinha. Imagine losing Rafinha. So I always make this
yeah,
argument for Xavi, right? We have six true forwards that can start in any given game when everybody's healthy. And so you got to think about how you rotate, right? And I think in matches, Xavi is so used to doing the same things over and over again. He's so used to just, hey, when there's 10 minutes left, I got to figure out what other forward I bring on. Is it Ansu Fati? Is it
yeah,
Ferran Torres? And that's why I'm saying I think Ten Hag is a better in-game manager. I don't know if his tactics are better than Xavi's yet, but I think in game you could tell he's more experienced. He's been to Europe before. He knows his stuff.
yeah.
And then Xavi
You
is
can
still
see with
learning
Ten
that.
Hag, yeah, Ten Hag's still able to work with counter attack. That's the thing about him. He's not just possession. 'Cause I
Yeah,
thought he'd just be like, he's just got to push through his formula, do this, or nothing else works. But he's
yeah,
been able to adapt to that kind of counter attack.
yeah,
He's able to sit deep a bit, get people to still do the counter attacking because that's what Man United were doing a lot before he came. So he's able
yeah.
to balance both things because we do press higher and have more possession nowadays, but we're still doing the counter attack when we
Yeah.
need to.
I agree. I think, look, United's going to change a lot between now and the next 2 or 3 seasons. I think you guys will change immensely. I think also how teams play you will change immensely. I think you look at Arsenal for a second, right? How most teams set up against us now is they run a low block, and it's just easier to run a low block, pray for 1 or 2 counters that you try to take advantage of throughout the match at some point, and that's how we're going to pull points away from Arsenal throughout the season. I think and I'm not saying that teams don't respect United now, but because that's your system right now, the goal is to try and retain some kind of possession against United, and maybe we'll have enough of the ball to create enough chances. I think when Ten Hag gets a chance to run the system he wants to run, you will see teams play more the way they're playing against Barcelona or the way they're playing against
Yeah.
Arsenal, because
And
that's the
that's
only way
when
you
it's
can
going to
actually
get
beat it.
frustrating. That's when it's going to get frustrating. And you know what? Yeah, I'm hoping that from what Ten Hag's been through with his club right now, he sees that he's able to do counter attack and possession.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, he can mix it up, and that way he has just some transitions where he maybe even sits a little bit deep against like a lesser club, but then springs like a counter attack, and then goes into a phase where he does possession because he does like a lot of fluid formations where sometimes he'll go 4-2-3-1. Then it will go to 3-2-2-3. You'll do like all these little weird
Yep.
transitions. So I hope he just keeps it changing because I really don't like it when, especially like with Man City, where it's just all high press. You just see them try and suffocate the game, and it's like, yeah, teams can catch on to the fact that they just need to sit deep
Mm-hmm.
and then just soak up pressure. I mean, Arsenal have been suffering that lately, where the likes of Brentford just figure them out. We'll park 8 people in the box and have Tony and then Buemo just like win aerial duels against your centre backs.
Yeah.
Remember, Saliba won 0 out of 10 duels against Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's like overall, I want to see Ten Hag just mix up a bit between possession and counter attack. Hopefully, we see that.
Yeah,
But
and I think with Barcelona, Arsenal, you're just on this last point on this front was I think
yeah,
that they're 2 young managers who have a very firm identity they want their clubs to have, and they're with young teams to top it off too, right? Arsenal's a young
yeah,
team, like everyone. It's funny that a lot of fans compare guys like Rashford to guys like Saka when in reality Rashford's in prime, 25 years old, should be performing the way he's performing.
yeah,
When Saka's 21 and he's still trying to find I'm not saying he's trying to find a way to establish his identity, but I can only imagine Saka at 25 years old, right? So I think
mm,
that United has more experienced players, they have a more experienced manager. I think they'll find their identity faster than most teams think. But Ten Hag, the one thing he has over guys like Arteta and Xavi is that his in-game management. He's already had big matches under his belt where he's had to constantly change how his teams looks, the tactics they're throwing out there, just to keep the opponent off balance, and it's working.
yeah, yeah. I just want to try and go through some more comments before we do our actual score predictions. There's
Yeah,
been quite a few building up. Thanks for everyone getting in your points of view. Premax was saying Garnacho always a wild card in Ten Hag's pocket, man. Yeah, so yeah, he's agreeing that I think we'll see him as like a super sub. Hopefully, we get into a position where United's just in control because we're at Old Trafford, we're at the 12th man, we're confident. hopefully we make you guys tired, and then we can put on we can put on speedy guys like Garnacho to get in and capitalize.
Garnacho would
Kalula,
be a good player for sure.
yeah. Kalula's just agreeing with the sentiment as well. Garnacho way better as a sub. Prima saying 3-2 to United. We'll get the third goal this time. I hope it's another great game like we saw in that last leg. It's better than a lot of Champions League games I've seen, man.
It is, man. This season, the best European night I've seen so far has been this time. I don't think any other. I mean, outside of I look at what happened last night and thinking, okay, maybe it was just dramatic because it was at Anfield, but this was one of the most entertaining matches I've seen all season, and it's just hilarious that it's coming from two Europa League teams versus any team in the Champions League.
It's showing that they're not going to be in that competition for long.
Nope.
I mean, we're seeing the preview of what might be happening next season for both of these teams. 18 attempts from both teams, and it's just
that's insane. Almost 40 attempts on goal combined. Like that blows my mind.
It's madness, man. Aronson, I'm with Prima 3-2 United. Okay, everyone keep getting in your predictions. I think Kalula is saying, I'm with you, Football Power Hour 3-1. I originally said 2-0, but I think it will be your ballpark. I've not even said hi to my boy, Football Power Hour. I should have gone up a bit more. Yeah, man, this guy does great content. Another Man United fan saying 3-1 United. I think it will be close. I'm going to say my prediction in a bit, but I think it will be like a fine margin game. Hopefully not what you said, Jose, earlier about extra time. What you say, extra time winner for you guys?
I think extra time winner for Barcelona.
I think we just have the momentum with like I said at the start of the stream, we had more clear-cut chances, and even the professionals are saying that. So
by the numbers,
Sports? You can't argue with Sky Sports, bro.
I can argue with Sky Sports all day.
Nah, they're professional dons, man. They know this stuff.
Nah.
There are a few shady pundits on there, but I think they've got good workers that
every time I see Gary Neville go on Sky Sports, I just think, man, what a shit network. But I think at the end of the day, this match is going to be close regardless. Every pundit's already said it, whether they're UK based or not. Even the ones in Spain are saying it. I think that the only people I've seen publicly say that they're going to have a shot, that Barcelona will have a shot at winning this game, are the players themselves. And I love the confidence. I'm going in with the same level of confidence.
Okay, Chavi's saying, I mean, not Chavi. Football Power Hour saying Chavi can hold this L. I'm hoping to see that, man. Ten Hag at home, man. I think I don't think we've even lost at home this season. People in the comments, you have to remind me. I think we're unbeaten. Leeds were close to beating us. They only got 2-2. So you come into a fortress, yeah. As my boy Football Power Hour says, it's back to the theater of dreams from the theater of memes, like it was. That's a great saying, man. We've got respect back on our names. Big up to Luan France getting in here. Subscribe if you know as well, guys. I'm going to have some more content on here. I might even have some animation coming through as well. But Jose being on today, great content, man. We've actually gone on longer. Jose's got some stuff to do in a bit. So I'm just going to run through a few more comments, then we're going to do our predictions.
Let's do it.
We're going to get out of here. Getting your predictions for the score, guys, if you haven't got them in. Yeah, Luan France confident we're going to smash them up. Hopefully we do. Gaming Simp.
All I'm going to say is Liverpool fans are saying the same thing. I love it, man. I love watching Prem fans get humbled. I live for it.
I mean, Gaming Simp saying I'd be a lot more confident if Lever wasn't playing, but Gaming Simp, we have to see that in our first game at home, we should be more confident, man. Like everyone's more confident when you're playing at home.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it helps when the second leg is at home. The return leg coming back to your stadium, it always you know exactly the job that needs to get done, and you know that you're going to have a massive crowd behind you. So
massive crowd, yeah. And we've seen already that Varane has dealt well with Lewandowski. I mean, the guy, I only remember one shot from him, Gaming Simp. So I think we can be a bit confident that we've got Martinez, the butcher, back in. You know what I mean? Someone's going to get chopped up, and it's not going to be Martinez. It's going to be Lewandowski.
All I'm saying is that he also plays very rashly, right? So all I'm saying is that Levas won more than a few penalties this season. I expect him to bait Martinez as much as he possibly can. I could totally see Barcelona going through on a penalty kick goal. I think that it could be cheeky, and that's fine with me. I'm totally going okay with going through on those types of margins.
Okay, let's do our predictions before we wrap up then. So for my prediction, like I was saying, I think it will be fine margin, but I just from the way we just took the game to you guys after the 30th minute, and even though we had less possession, we picked the right times to contain you guys, to have our wingers track back, and then we picked the right times to have Rashford getting behind. Even Fred was getting chances. Sancho could have scored. I think at home with stronger defense, you guys are going to get something as well. It's just about how many. I don't. We're going to get more. If you score one, we're going to score more. That's always been the Manchester United mantra. We're always going to score one more than you guys, man. So I reckon we win it 2-1. I'm going to go Rash Bappe. That's my boy, aka Rashford. Rash Bappe will get a brace, and maybe let's see. I think Rafinha will get one. Actually, I don't see Lewandowski doing anything. He can't show up again like he did in that first leg if you guys are going to do anything. But I think he won't be doing anything. So yeah, 2-1, bro. What
We'll
are you
see.
saying?
I'll be sure to tag you immediately when he scores.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna stand by what I said before. I think it's a long shot for Barcelona to go through because of the team that we have at the moment. However, I think if anybody's gonna get this team ready to go, get the boys ready to go, it is Xavi. I think this team itself is young but has a lot of pride coming into this and a lot of confidence. They haven't been scored on very, very often. I think it's going to go to extra time. I think it's going to be something very cheeky, like a penalty kick that Leva scores. I think he runs straight over to the Stretford end and hits him with it. I think
it's 0-0 to extra time. Are you saying?
No. I think it's going to be 1-1 heading into extra time. And I think something like a penalty kick happens that's very controversial that Leva puts away, and then we move. But 2-1 is what I have after extra time.
Wow. I was trying to take that in, man. I mean, your prediction just shows that you're scared of Man United because you're thinking I have to go to.
Don't you scared? I respect United.
Man.
I respect United.
Come on, if it's gonna have to take you guys, La Liga. I mean, you're pretty much champions now. It's gonna take.
There's a little bit to go. There's a little bit to go.
Yeah, come on. I mean, if you guys bottle it, yeah, you won't be able to go on Twitter, man. You'll be done. Yeah, everyone. I'm sure you got people that will be atting you all day, man. You'll be finished online.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm cool with that. And look, and here's the thing. What if I'm not though? What if I'm right? What if I'm right and we come in there and we pull an upset? Right? No, I'm telling you. After the result, the 2-2, I can't tell you how many Prem fans, especially the Liverpool ones, went onto Twitter or to TikTok or anything and were saying, "Oh, this is the best Spain has to offer. I'm not even worried about Real Madrid." And then look what happens. On any given European night, magic can happen from nowhere. It can be completely unprecedented. I've been a fan of this game long enough to know that nothing is predictable.
I'm sorry, Jose. You're talking about magic. You're talking about having to take us to extra time. These are words of someone that is not as confident. Because I'm saying we're taking it normal time. I'm not saying like you guys are going to.
You would be in the same position I was if your Rashford, your Rash Bappe wasn't playing. Just like I'm giving you the version of Barcelona without Pedri, without Gavi, without Dembele. These are players that have carried us all season, and they're not available for one of the biggest games of the year.
You got Lewandowski up front, yeah. You should still be.
You still need service. You need service to come in. You need service.
You've got the likes of Kesse, who is a good first teamer for you.
Yeah, but how many games has he played this year? How many games has he played this season?
What for
Barcelona as a whole? How many games has he played this season? Yeah, I think I can count him on two hands. How many games he's played this season?
Recently, he's looked good. All I'm saying is, he's a top level signing that you guys have used. I've brought in when you need to use him. You should be. You know what I mean? He's better than the likes of McTominay. We've got the likes of McTominay to come in, and the likes of Fred. You guys got Kessie. I would say Kessie's better than those players in terms of composure, technique. Yeah. You guys are gonna have De Jong, as you said, and Busquets. Come on, bro. There should be a bit more confidence from you, but
it's not about confidence. It's about chemistry. Like I said, confidence didn't allow Real Madrid to beat Liverpool. It was chemistry. It was a team that understands what it takes to win matches that big because they're experienced, and they went out there and they did it regardless of the form they're in. This is a team who doesn't have those same confident players that they had to carry them all year, and they got to make it work against one of the most in-form teams, not just in the Prem, but in Europe. So yeah, it's respect. I am not scared of anyone. Barcelona is the biggest club in the world. I'm not scared
I
of
wouldn't say that.
any opponent out there. We've hardly been scored on this season. I don't think it's even double digits yet. And so, it's going to be a fantastic match. I can't wait for it. And if we
Yeah.
do lose, please jump into my mentions.
I won't jump in.
I want to have these debates as often as I possibly can.
Just a small correction. Man United's obviously the biggest in the world because we've got the fan base. Everyone knows about Man United. All time in terms of winning Premier Leagues, got the most Premier Leagues, stuff like that. We're coming back. We're on the ascendancy. I know you guys have got the better of us in Champions League, but this is the time. It's coming, yeah, where we get some revenge on you guys, man. Like Gaming Simp is saying, yeah, I'll take a 1-0. I'm not nervous like Gaming Simp. I'm more confident. Come on, Gaming Simp, man. We gotta have that confidence, especially after that first leg. I reckon we do take it by a goal margin, whether it be a 2-1, 1-0, 3-2. I reckon we're taking it. But I'm just going to go through the last few comments and then we're going to head out. If you've not got your predictions for the score already, please get them in because we're about to head out.
Bro, your chat is awesome. I love the comments. I love the passion for United. And this is why you guys are one of the biggest clubs in the world, man.
Exactly.
You got to get more Barcelona fans in here next time.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a lot of content which is attracting United fans. So it's just going to be what it is.
It is what it is, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I will let them come at me all day. It doesn't scare me at all.
Well, yeah, Lauren France, I was going to read that one, but it is our house. That's what it is. Also saying that there's no way we're going to let Barca come into our house in the form we're in and walk away with those 3 points. I mean, it's not points, is it? Where it's knockout stage, but we can't allow you to win regardless to get to the next stage. So if she's going 2-0, I don't think it will be as clean. I mean, I'm hoping.
I don't know about a 0. I mean, United could score 2 goals, 100%. I don't think you keep Barca scoreless. I think that we have more than enough talent to get on the score sheet and make it interesting for sure. I think 2-0 is almost disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you guys will get something, especially with. I don't think it's more hope that Lewandowski has another bad game, but I don't see him being like kept tight again. Like he was in the first leg. Because the guy, I mean, we're just been through his record, like 25, 24 goals and like 29 appearances. It's like he's gonna come good at some point.
And look, he just scored this past weekend. Before that, though, I will say this: he's been in like somewhat of a interesting dry spell. Like it was 6 straight matches of no goals for Leva. Now he was suspended for 3 of them, so it maybe that he just wasn't in a rhythm. He was suspended for those 3 matches for that stupid gesture he made to a referee. But he's back. He just scored on the weekend. I'm hoping he continues the form.
Right. Well, we're gonna call it there because we're going on longer than we should have. But Jose just talks too much. He's so knowledgeable about football that we've had to go on this long. It's been awesome having you on the channel, my friend. If you have time in the future, we'll probably do this again, but I'll see if you're free. But just plug yourself. Where can people follow you to gain more ball knowledge, my friend?
If anyone here wants to have these debates with me, I'm a giant Barcelona and a giant Arsenal fan, so I think for Eddie's channel, it just makes for interesting content all the way around. I put my @ in the on the stream today @ It's Bromigo. That is my gamer tag. I've used it for years. Feel free to follow. Feel free to mention me if for whatever reason United get lucky tomorrow and walk away with the win. I'm always down to have these debates, and because either way, I'm going to be following United the rest of the season as an Arsenal fan, right? Either way, there's a title race on our hands, and I'm excited for the latest installments of it.
I think we might have to get on and talk about Arsenal because
I'm down to have that one. That one's going to be good.
I don't know if you've seen my agenda against Arsenal on my YouTube.
Oh, I've seen it.
Made
yeah, I've seen
You've seen it, so I don't remember have to talk in the future, bro. But big up to everyone that's got in here. Gaming Sim, Aaron, Kalula, thanks. It has been a great show. Gaming Sim, brilliant, fellas. Thanks, man. Giving me confidence, especially. I mean, Jose's already confident. Wow, yeah. Thanks for the sentiment.
The chat's been amazing, man.
Big up to Prima. Good show, Eddie and Jose. Yeah, can't wait until kickoff, man. Can't wait for this game. Big up to the Vuginator that came in. Big up to Matthew Bassett. Everyone, Luan France. Tellez, thanks for getting in here late on as well. Everyone else, Aaron, thanks for keeping up the like count. Everyone hit the like on the way out if you haven't. But yeah, we're going to wrap up there. Thanks for watching another live football waffle. And Jose, cheers again, bro.
Cheers, man.